GNT show is intended for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised. These are the voyages of the GNT show. Our continuing mission to explore Star Trek storytelling, to seek out new worlds and interesting characters, to Boliga, where no show has gone before. Live long and prosper, bitches.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the GNT Show, episode 225. I'm Terry Lynn. To my right, your left, is the man, the mystery, Gettysburg 7.
And Joel on True Peggers, how are you today? Hope everyone's doing well. And there she is to my left, your right, wearing the latest in latex dresses. It's Terry Lynn.
How does this thing strap on again? It
Don't worry about it.
The snaps in the back. In the back.
It's like talking to a wall, this one. And there he is to my right, your left, looking very confused this morning, Ceridium.
Kablah! Which way is the muzzle supposed to go on? I can't figure this thing out.
Sadly,
Look at the
Mike,
picture on the box.
and there she is across the table from us with the look of disdain and disapproval that she always has. It's Janet.
Who the hell are you people? I lost my innocence.
God, could you imagine?
She says that
the
while
one who wrote Unforgiven.
she's also the one holding the crop.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It's like, I'm thinking untrustworthy. Made me realize you are not innocent.
Can you imagine if, like, BDSM gear had IKEA-type instructions?
Oh my god.
IKEA ball gag.
Everybody gets an Allen wrench. Everybody.
Yeah.
An Allen wrench, and you're still sitting there at the end of the day going, what the fuck does this do?
Parts left
Get the
over
drill.
at the
Get
end.
the drill. I don't care what the fucking thing says. Get the drill.
I'd have to ask my dad to come over to put it together. This is not good.
That's awesome.
Oh my.
Can you imagine the instructions for a swing chair?
Oh, or a tie basket.
And Ross says that would make things so much simpler. IKEA instructions.
The only thing that would make my life happier is to see Harvey Korman and
Tim
Cloris
Conway.
on the pig. Oh my god.
So I got,
my god. No way. Matthew Anderson, you frightened the hell
He
out of
actually
me.
found them.
Oh.
IKEA BSDM. or
Oh my
BDSM.
god.
Wow.
I'm literally sitting here.
There is nothing original
stunned.
anymore.
Yep.
God
Lewis.
damn it,
Matt
Matthew
wins again.
Anderson.
God. For our listeners, Matthew Anderson just posted what looks like IKEA instructions for a spanking horse and a BDSM cross. That's fucking hilarious.
That's awesome.
So I got to tell you guys.
Good morning, Internet.
What did you do this week? Coffee clutch.
Yes, good morning,
Yeah, really.
Internet. I got to tell you guys.
Yeah.
The lovely the Black Magnum is in the chat room this morning.
Yes, he is. He's
What's going on?
while he's listening to us while he plays Star Wars.
What's going on, Anthony? And I was thinking of him this week because, one, I haven't seen him in forever.
I know.
Two, I didn't have my phone with me, and it pissed me off because I wanted to send him a photo of I was grocery shopping. Did you know that there is now a Swanson Hungry Man chicken and waffles?
No.
Yep. I looked at it and I laughed out loud right there in the frozen food section aisle.
Wow.
Right?
I'm oddly excited about that.
Yeah, it's just the IKEA pictures.
But I literally, I was like, oh, I got it. And I said it out loud. I was like, I got to fuck. I left the phone in the car.
Anthony's like, say what? Is it Hungry Man, chicken and waffles?
Yep.
Apparently, it's a thing. He's cracking up. Oh, that's awesome. So the coffee clutch is on.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll start with you this week, Nick. What'd you do this week?
Well, there was work, and it was 70 degrees here yesterday. Now think about this. 2 weeks ago, we had 3 feet of snow.
Yeah.
Today it's 70 degrees. Tuesday, it's supposed to snow again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody pissed off Storm. Somebody get her a Midol or something. Oh, I'm sorry. Was that misogynistic?
No.
Okay, just checking.
No. 70. It was 70 degrees, 73 degrees here yesterday, but we have a 10% chance of snow on Tuesday. So
people were walking around here like literally like some Twilight Zone where they're coming out of the bunker after the nuclear holocaust.
That's awesome.
Look at that. There you go. There it is, Terry.
Unbelievable. Huh. Very interesting.
With cranberries.
Are those cranberries or beans? Oh, cranberry apple dessert. Huh. Interesting.
But I just can't see the waffles being good.
Yeah.
You know they're going to taste freezer burned.
Yeah, but when you're hungry for carbs, dude, you do anything.
Yeah, that's true.
Lego my ego.
It'll be kind of...
Suddenly I have the urge to get one of those and have a good times marathon.
Anytime you need a payment.
Good times.
Need a payment, sorry.
I don't it's a southern thing.
Layoffs.
Although it's really not, because the first time I ever had chicken and waffles was at Roscoe's, which is in Long Beach, California, and one in Pasadena.
Isn't that the whitest city on earth, Long Beach?
Pretty much. Well, no, not necessarily. There's a great African American community. There is in Pasadena, too.
I wonder what is the whitest.
But Roscoe's is definitely, to be honest with you, Roscoe's was shit. It was breakfast heaven, right? Especially for all the cops.
Well,
Go get chicken and waffles in the morning. Oh my God, it was the best.
I think I've told you that one of the really nice things, and I'm not being sarcastic, when working in D.C. when I did, was the soul food places were just unbelievable.
I can imagine. We don't really have that here in Albuquerque. I don't think I've seen one yet. But
we had a Louisiana kitchen in here in town, and I think it's closed since then. But it was the only place around here where you can get actual alligator.
Oh, so good.
My cousin for a while had a sushi soul food place in Truckee, California. It was a sushi bar and soul food. Her husband was the soul food master, and they brought in a sushi chef, and it was pretty popular for a while. Okay, the Louis D'Onofrio, those look really good.
They do.
The thing about now, Mike, did you have alligator?
No, I've never actually eaten there.
It's really good. The only thing with alligator is you have to eat it while it's still piping hot. Yeah. Because once it starts to cool, it turns into like rubber, like a Super Ball.
And that's the way the calamari can be that way too.
Exactly. Yeah, because like when I used to have to go to Fort Polk down in the bayous of Louisiana, one of the things I looked forward to was like crawdaddies and alligator and all of that.
Crawdaddies.
The G&T show, always teaching.
I know. Mikey, what did you do this week?
I've been pretty low this week, so I don't want to talk about that. But this week, let's see, Jen Ucelis, she's been pretty busy. She got us a couple of interviews from Capricorn. She's written up an article, a blog post about it, her time there. So check those out. Those are on the site. Friday interviews are up. Saturday, I believe, are still waiting approval from Miss Janet.
Yay.
Saturday interviews are coming up on
Sunday?
Tomorrow, I think.
Nice.
Hey, is Jen Ucelis going to be at Vegas?
I don't know.
Last I had heard, no. She's opting to go to Chicago.
She's opting to do. I think she's doing the Creation Chicago one.
Yeah.
Well, we can't meet her that way.
I know.
Well, she blame Creation for that one.
I'll be in Chicago for a couple of days in April, so hopefully we'll be able to hook up.
That'd be nice.
Hook up.
Yeah.
Hey, because Vance is the whitest place in the U.S. where I grew up, Northern Idaho. I was going to ask that. How white is it there, and like Wyoming and stuff?
Yeah, it's
Minnesota.
No, actually,
Minnesota,
no.
Minneapolis has a because that's where a lot of it's like the same with Chicago, Minneapolis. A lot of the Southern Africans after slavery, they all moved to the free states, even
Nice.
before the Civil War. So when they fled, that's where they fled. So they have a great African American community up there, but not so much in the West and the Northwest. Northern Idaho in specific, even
Well,
Alan admits it's pretty damn white.
Look, I'm painfully white, and I wouldn't want to live in Montana.
Montana's freaking beautiful. Oh my god, I love Montana. I love Montana.
Oh no, don't get me wrong.
Oh, okay.
The land up there and everything, is unbelievable, and Wyoming and everything. But I don't want snow in August.
Well, there is that. It's like the Dakotas, that whole top range of like northern Minnesota, the Dakotas, and parts of all the way. Yeah, you're right. They get a lot of snow, and it stays cold for like 8 months out of the year. And then they have mosquitoes. So it's either snow season or mosquito season. Mosquitoes are horrible. Oh my god! It's seriously, that's what it is. Once everything thaws out, it's mosquito season.
Yeah, they've got a lot of lakes and stuff, and that's just breeding ground for.
It's gross.
That's a good point.
Miss Janet, what
Yes.
did you do this week?
What did I do this week? Basically homework. It's we're getting into the stretch of, oh look, this is the only thing you do with your time. Here, let me give you more stuff to read. Thank you. More stuff to try to figure out. Sure. But I do. I have a design class, so I play with Adobe InDesign and try to make things that sort of like look like something. And the other one is project planning, though. And between the two of them, every now and then we get things that are just sort of like, oh, just put it there. Put what? Put where? Or oh,
That's what she said.
Just write an essay on it. On what? On that. Oh, come on, people. You have PhDs. Communicate with me.
But you know what I've discovered where I work, Janet?
Beg pardon?
You know what I've discovered where I work?
Okay.
A lot of times, the higher the education level, the less able to communicate.
That's very true. Yeah, that. Well, and also the higher up people get, I think, that you kind of stop worrying about your audience and not just their level of comprehension, but their time or their level of interest, or and people keep burying the lead. They keep burying the lead, and it drives me nuts.
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
That you see this, these 16 long paragraphs, and then in the bottom of paragraph 14, it says, and this is your assignment. Like, come on, put it in the front.
And that's why everybody needs to do a bluff, bottom line up front, small 2-sentence, and then they can have their long whatever.
Then go on as any way you please. And the beauty of most email programs is that you'll see like the first line or so. So if it's right there, then yeah, you can look at that and say, okay, it's due on Tuesday, or we don't have anything this week, or oh my God, I better start now. I want to hear it before I go and before I commit myself to reading War and Peace here.
By the way, I'm just saying that dog in that GIF is phenomenal.
Isn't it awesome? Now, does it have a broken leg?
That's why he's.
Chloe's
see,
upset
your
about
dogs
that.
are unhappy with that.
Yeah. Matter of fact. All right, I'm gonna shut the door.
Oh,
No, that's okay.
Now we have sound effects to go along with
Hey,
this.
the Axonar crew is here.
You totally missed our discussion this morning, so I will not comment.
Chloe,
Oh, boy.
it was a rabbit.
Oh, Terry missed my line, too.
What?
I said, the Axonar crew is here.
Oh, dude.
Why, are you still railing about them, Mike?
No,
Oh, okay.
I've gone the other way.
You love them?
No, but I was kind of defending them this week.
I'm sorry, that GIF I can't figure that out.
It's
the tree
mesmerizing.
smacking the guy in the head. That's awesome.
Well,
Take
tree
that.
doesn't
Take
want to
that.
be removed, man. All right. Well, let's get to what did I do this week? What did I do? I went to work. I did some things. Alan and I went out yesterday because the weather was so nice. We had a nice lunch at a wood fire pizza place. That was exciting.
Nice.
Yeah. But we got to sit in like the semi patio, which was nice. The weather was nice enough to kind of sit outside. But we're waiting for it to get cold again. Other than that, it was actually a pretty quick week. You know, I had Monday off, so I gamed my butt off, and we'll talk more about Star Trek Online when we get to that. So let's move forward, and let's get to hey, why don't we start off with Unofficial Productions?
I made something Star Trek. Unofficial Productions.
Tomorrow's the day, right?
Yeah, it's my understanding.
28th.
Yeah. The answer for Axonar Productions and Alex answers are due to the court tomorrow.
Yes.
Again, we don't know what form these answers will take, whether it's going to be an actual answer or if it's going to be demur or some other form, maybe even a motion to dismiss, or although I highly doubt that. I don't know. They might want to waste the court's time by filing a motion for summary judgment. I doubt it. I think that they would. I hope their attorney's smart enough not to piss off the judge by doing that, because there is a tribal issue of fact here. And that's kind of it. We have no idea what they're going to say. I have no idea but the answer is due tomorrow. So we'll follow up as soon as we know. Of course, if you're interested, there is now, I'm sorry, I'm laughing. There's now a wiki to follow the case, correct? Am I wrong about this? There is a wiki. There's a wiki page now.
Well, it was done by someone because there's so much news and everything, and somebody had asked in a forum how, hey, this is all new to me, and then rather than saying go to Trek BBS, go to here, go to here, go to here, to put
is that what it was for?
One, yeah.
That's interesting. Well, not a whole lot has happened. I mean, the suit's been filed. You can read that anytime you want because it's available publicly because it's a public document. Do I need to repeat that?
Yes, public.
And so will the answer. The answers. All of anything. If anybody ever wants to know what's happening in a lawsuit or in any type of case, don't forget, if you're a citizen of this country, this actually doesn't even need to be, but these documents are publicly available because that's the way our system works. Is you are allowed to know how justice works. For the most part, that also means you can go sit in a courtroom and watch. Unless the judge says no, and then it's okay when they shut the doors. Sometimes they do close the doors to the public, mainly because they want to, in the interest of justice, they just want to move the case forward instead of having to deal with a rowdy gallery.
Have it turn into a circus, like with everybody
like
that supports Axonar.
Yeah.
So showing up in costume.
Yes, and by the way, court pleadings, which are a matter of public record,
yes,
sometimes have people's home addresses on them.
Isn't
That's
that
not
shocking?
doxing. These are public records. Just in case anyone was wondering about that or concerned, that is the truth.
So welcome to, believe it or not, where you live is not a protected document.
That's why you have a house number.
Uh-huh.
Well, that goes back to, remember the whole...
Yep.
That's why I asked last week if you remember the yellow pages.
The white pages? That's
yeah.
something. Yeah. You can opt out of it, but it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. Hey, I got your number out of the white pages. Does that, or your address? Does that mean I doxed you?
Oh God, I hope not.
It's so weird. So we won't know more until that answer or that response is filed with the court and we figure out what that is. I personally am not expecting a whole lot. I think we're going to get an answer with a bunch of general denials. And I think a lot of people will be like, oh, we didn't hear anything. Well, you know what? That's what discovery is for. When that's when things will get really interesting. like when the depositions happen. But the depositions we won't hear and we won't have access to because they're not filed with the court.
Right.
Not until trial. So they're swapped between parties, so they'll know what each other says. But anything that's filed with the court, like, say, a request for production or a request for interrogatories, those might be accessible. So those usually happen within 90 days. So welcome to the expedient portion of the U.S. justice system. I was being sarcastic. But the thing is that it's still in California. It's probably on fast track, which means that the judge will set this matter for trial within like a year. And the reason why it takes so long, everybody, is that you always have to let the other side respond to whatever it is that you're doing. And you have to give them sufficient time to do so. And that's usually a 30-day cycle. Sometimes it's 15 days. This takes time. So I don't know. I think we're gonna don't be too excited about what gets filed tomorrow. That's all I'm saying. I think it's gonna be a bunch of we deny.
Yeah, it's gonna be very technical. And the other thing is, if DOE defendants are named, and they're not necessarily going to be named tomorrow, but they're named sometime during this year, then that will stretch the discovery process even longer.
Yeah, every time they did. As discovery progresses, if the other side, if namely CBS and Paramount in this case, determines that somebody who's mentioned or is discovered through this process to be a potential or is somebody they feel they need to address and file what they call Doe in, take one of those John Does or Jane Does and turn it into, we've now identified this Jane Doe or this John Doe, then they have to file and then they have to serve a complaint against that person. And guess what starts? The whole process starts all over again. They have to file an answer to the complaint, then discovery starts for them. So that's why cases take years, people. So I haven't heard any rumors. Have you guys heard any rumors regarding settlement discussions?
No.
Nothing specific. I mean, people are speculating, but I'm not seeing anything. I have checked Pacer, and there's nothing. So I'm going to operate on the assumption that because this is tomorrow will be the final day to answer, that there will be an answer, as opposed to a settlement. But I really don't know, and I'm looking forward to seeing whatever comes up, just like everybody else is.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
Just remember, though, none of us know all the dirt, and none of us are lawyers. Oh, wait, Janet is. We're all just haters who are talking out of our ass.
Yeah. I already made my piece about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You guys know how I feel. And
I know there isn't a lot of news, and I know people kind of want to make up news in a way. And I know there are also a lot of folks with axes to grind. I've been trying very hard to stay away from the axe grinding because it's really not productive. And what had happened in the past, where there was a bankruptcy and there were other issues that had happened, those are unfortunate and they are perhaps problematic for these individuals, but they are not part of this case.
Exactly.
The other thing is whatever has happened with the donors. I am concerned about the donors, and if they feel they want to seek justice, or if they have complaints or they have problems, then I certainly support their ability to ask questions, make complaints, and try to get some sort of satisfaction for that. But I do need to remind people that that's not part of this particular claim, and that if donors want to make claims, and if they do, I don't know what their chances of success are, but if they, because it's kind of the Wild West when it comes to crowdfunding these days. But beyond that, if they want to make a case about this, it has got to be separate. The court is not going to suddenly turn around and say, oh, by the way, we're going to do this for donors. That's not going to happen here. If the donors want something, they are going to have to either join this case or make their own.
And you can hate someone personally or whatever, but that has nothing to do with the aspect of the law. There are plenty of loathsome people who go through life not violating the law. that's awesome. There's plenty of amazing people like, that you would give up your life for who may break the law. So don't bring personality into this just because it can be very frustrating. Trust me, I know. But that has nothing to do on IP law.
No, unfortunately not.
And
but again, it's one thing. Go ahead.
I'm just going to throw this out there. It's a question that some parties just can't seem to answer yes or no to. In fact, they avoid it altogether. Was, let's say, Axanar Coffee officially licensed by CBS? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, hey, good for you. That's awesome. If not, you've broken the law.
It's like I said, it's an unfortunate circumstance. I'm very passionate about what's going on. I'm also very passionate about the perceived problems that donors are facing right now. Not all donors are unhappy. We know this because they're very supportive of the project. Mm-hmm. But there are some donors who are frankly, in my opinion, rightfully upset about how their money was spent, considering what they were expecting to have received, as opposed to what was actually their money was actually used for. A couple of blogs have come out this week that I thought were very interesting from a couple of donors and some others who bring up those questions. If you are a donor to Axanar and you have those questions and you're coming to our podcast to seek answers to those questions, I can tell you, you won't be able to find them from us, mainly because we don't have them. These are questions that you need to ask other parties. You need to ask those questions directly to the people to whom you've donated money. And I hate to say, deflect you back and say you need to ask Axanar. You need to ask Axanar. You need to ask them. But it's true. The fact is, these questions can only be answered by Alec and the officers and other people who have created the actual business platform. And you can do that just by persistence. If they refuse to answer you and you aren't feeling like you are getting answers, the only thing I can do is you have to follow official channels.
And just prepare yourself that asking a question like that will have you branded a hater and not a truck fan.
And you won't be able to answer. The fact is that you won't be able to ask these questions in their Facebook pages because they'll boot you out, and you won't be able to ask those questions in any other format. So just do yourself a favor. If you've got specific questions, we're not your attorneys. You need to go find those, and you guys need to talk to each other, and you guys need to follow through official channels to get those questions answered. You might be surprised with the answers. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I've got to put this out again because I am under ethical obligations, even though I'm a retired attorney. If you think you might be a DOE defendant, if there is a possibility that you will be a DOE defendant, and that is, and you can find that out by reading the complaint, I urge you, I implore you to start seeking out alternative representation, because your interest may be in conflict with those of Mr. Peters and Axanar Productions. Yep. I implore you. I hope you will at least take it under serious consideration.
Yep.
I am not your attorney. Please do not take this as representation. It is neither intended nor implied. But I urge you, as from one person to another, to please seek out representation.
Just go by the old planning at it. Look, you can believe that everything is 100% on the up and up and all that, but always live by the adage: hope for the best, plan for the worst.
Yeah,
thank you.
That's good advice.
And one other thing I want to add: if you are part of that team and you continually fall back on, continues and new voyages and phase 2 and Horizon and blah blah. Let me just say this. I can let the neighbor to my left walk through my yard every day and say nothing about it. But if the neighbor to my right walks by and I tell them not to, and I call the cops, that's my right.
You're the owner. You're the property owner. You get to do what you want with it.
Yep. So, just saying.
Yeah.
But stop trying to throw others under the bus because of things you did. And I'm going to say the same thing that you guys like to say about yourself. Are you there doing their books? Oh, we don't want to say that though, do we? We don't want to bring up, you say, oh, you don't know what's going on day to day, blow by blow. Well, so you know what's going on with every other fan production? It seems like you have enough on your plate with your own thing.
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of those fans know what's going on a day-by-day basis or blow-by-blow.
No, I'm not talking about fans. I'm talking about the people involved in the suit.
Oh, I see.
Who like to throw the other fan productions under the bus.
Oh, I see.
Because they may not like Vic or, whatever.
Or James or anybody else. Yeah. Well, be that as it may, again, we are looking forward to seeing what kind of a response comes through from Axonar Productions and from Alec Peters in tomorrow's deadline. We'll maybe have some more information. I doubt, again, it's going to be all that exciting. I have a feeling what we're going to receive is a bunch of general denials, and discovery will then start, and that will be a long, quiet. Well, here's the thing. It'll be a long process. Whether or not it's quiet remains to be seen.
By the way, Terry,
yes.
General Denial,
yeah.
I served with him for a short time. Not a good guy.
Kind of boring, kind of dull.
Yeah, very quiet.
Moving on, because Mike put this wonderful link in our links. He's so good, you guys. You have no idea. I love Mike. Mike puts together this amazing thing.
It's like Saturdays. You get this email from Mike if you're part of the show.
Yeah.
G&T links episode, XXX.
It's all laid out about what we're going to talk about. It's all fucking organized and shit.
This week I counted it, 624 links.
Approximately. Well, one for each member of Congress.
Oh my god!
Should have seen last week's notes.
Yeah, there was 3 pages of them. We only have 1 page today, or 2 pages, which is actually kind of cool. But last week we couldn't even get to most of them. So I do want to get through these to this week. Sticking with Unofficial Productions.
Just real quick. Hey, Lady Renegade, good luck. You are gonna do amazing. Don't
Kick ass,
worry
girl.
about it. It's gonna be awesome.
You're gonna have fun. Have a good time.
You know what she's doing, right?
Yes, she's taking pictures of a boy getting his penis lopped off.
Of a bris.
Avoid the snip.
Shit. Gotta talk to the moil.
Every time
let me tell you how they always go. Yeah. The women always hang around towards the front to make sure the baby's okay. And the men all stay in the back and drink.
With their legs crossed.
And cringing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you blame them?
Matthew Anderson.
I'd be with the guys. I'm sorry. I'd be with the guys. I don't think I could handle it.
Matthew Anderson, that makes me sad, that photo that you just put up, because, well, that guy's got his hands in his pockets, and that's totally against AR 670-1.
I'm so afraid of that.
What, A 670-1?
Yeah. You can't put your hands in your pocket?
No.
Okay. Oh, well,
it's one of the great mysteries. Why do they give us pockets if we can't use them? That's why people call them Air Force gloves.
Cushion's gonna kick your ass.
No, that's every other branch calls them Air Force gloves.
The Air Force just calls them gloves? Is that it?
No, they call them pockets.
Oh.
Well, continuing on with the Unofficial Productions, the wonderful link that Mike did put on our page today is the YouTube link to Star Trek Horizon.
Very exciting.
It's a
Their
clip.
latest clip.
It's a clip.
Looks really good.
Called The Monument. And it's fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
The choice of color was surprising. I was just totally impressed. And I cannot wait until the 28th. I just cannot wait.
It's wonderful. Congratulations to Tommy on this. It's really quite beautiful. Looking forward to more. The link will be provided in our chat room, is in our chat room, and will be in our show notes. And that's when it's coming out. It's the 28th, right?
Yes.
So next week.
There'll be it'll be shown. I think there's a private showing at a theater for donors. I think it's in Michigan. It will be, I think, available to the public. I think it's on the 28th or right before then. I think donors will get it just a day sooner or something. But nonetheless, I'm looking forward to seeing what he has created, because all of the teasers have been amazing.
It's very true. They've been beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Moving on, we can get to some general news.
What's new in the Star Trek universe? General news.
Janet, you were kind enough to post a bunch of these links before the show. One of these links was the StarTrek.com article regarding the Star Trek themed wedding that I thought was so cute. Oh my God, it was so cute. Sorry, I'm bringing it up right now. Beautiful Star Trek themed wedding and the article is written by the two women. It's Rachel Shimanovsky and Jessie Sanchez. I love their dresses. They're so pretty. So, talk about Idic. Look at that cake. There is a beautiful spacey cake, and on the top it says "Make it so." Isn't that cute?
It's this is also nice, just because I work for Wedding Blog, in case people don't know, and so I look at this sort of stuff day in, day out, and you start to pick up on what the trends are, and things like that. And like there's just above the picture of the cake, there's a number of framed images in purple frames, and purple has been very, very big lately.
It's really pretty.
Also looking at their gowns, both of them have sort of like a champagne kind of color. Mm-hmm. Very, very up to the moment, very chic. The makeup is nice. It's a little, it's not quite natural makeup. It's a little more than that, a little more glammed up than that, but it's not overdone. The neck pieces that they're wearing are really stunning. The bodices are really good. There's a nice thematic, it's not matchy, but there's a thematic kind of line between the two of them, because they both they're sequined, but the sequins are kind of dark. The hair is up. It's just so, really, this is a really lovely, lovely wedding. And I look at weddings all day long, and it's, but this is very up to the minute, very, very 2015, and rightly so. They are beautiful brides. So congratulations to them.
Congratulations. We love the photos, love the article, and do yourself a favor and never read the comments. Okay. We had this week we cracked up. We talked a little bit about last week about unfortunately Justice Scalia's death, but the conspiracy theories that had popped up afterwards, and one of them was this hilarious parody site called harddawn.com, where they where they came up within hours of Justice Scalia's death, they came up with this hilarious fake conspiracy theory of Leonard Nimoy not really dying, but faking his death to take over the Illuminati so he could kill Justice Scalia.
It may be fake, but there are people who actually believe this shit.
And that's exactly right. That's scary. Why I have been...
Because it's true.
Case in point.
So yeah, we are. The only reason why we brought it up was just because it was so freaking hilarious that they chose Leonard Nimoy as the person who would take over the Illuminati. And I don't think it's a bad choice. I think that if anybody was going to take over the Illuminati, it should be Leonard Nimoy. We might actually. He can
crap, I can't think of the word. Give it not a makeover, but revamp it. Bring it to modern day. Crap.
He could shift its policies a little bit.
Bring it more in line with IDIC.
But I think what cracked me up the most was the idea that somehow he would ever even think about hurting someone, let alone murdering someone. As you can tell, I'm finding this just to be one of the funniest things that's come out in a couple of weeks. When I saw the Hard Dawn column last week, I kind of asked, and I thought, please tell me this is a parody site, because I do know that some conspiracy theories tend to be about as wacky as this one was. And my friend said, yes, Hard Dawn is definitely a parody site. I was like, okay, great. Well, what cracked me up about it was just a couple of days later, NPR picked up on it and retweeted it as if it was a real conspiracy site. So I was rolling on the floor twice as much.
The crazy has no end.
It has no end.
Hey, Terry.
Yeah?
Let me just point out to you,
Uh-huh.
okay? Let me just point this out to you. Now, try and wrap your little female brain around this, okay?
Okay.
It's so crazy and so unbelievable. That's exactly why it's believable.
You watch way too much X-Files.
As former Democratic senator once said about President Reagan, the lack of evidence just means we have to look for evidence.
Oh, jeez. Oh.
It's so crazy, so insane. I gotta tell you, people, it's nuts. That's why it's gotta be true.
But
Because it's too unbelievable to believe, therefore it's believably unbelievable.
Make me knock my water bottle over. I have been just roaring. It's been so funny. So NPR, of course, got a little bit faced. They ended up having to publish and saying, oh, by the way, after we ran with this article, we found out it was a parody site. And I had to question myself at the time. I was like, is this a parody site now? Or, you know, but awesome. Just funny as all get out. And yeah.
I'm sorry, that meme that was just put up.
Oh, yes.
It's too bad they're painted green and not black.
Yeah.
Because Apaches are painted green, but yeah. I won't let reality step in the way.
Yeah, I know. Neither do they. So, go ahead. Somebody was going to say something.
It's Leonard Nimoy. Of anybody.
Of all of
Leonard
them. For
Nimoy.
anybody. Here's the thing. If it had been Shatner instead.
David Bowie more than Leonard Nimoy.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, but that they tried to make it as ridiculous as possible, and they did a good job.
There's a site called the Duffel. Go ahead, Mike.
I was going to say it all really comes down to the fact of the hand gesture, the what is it? Shin? Is that what it is?
Yes, it's the letter shin.
Okay, so it's a you can tell us a little bit more about it, I'm sure, but it's a Hebrew letter, right?
Yeah, and it stands for shalom, which means peace.
So
peace sign.
Yeah, so they're taking one element, throwing it, into the crazy bin and seasoning it appropriately.
Putting a little parsley on it.
Look, it's Bill. If anybody's watched Gravity Falls. Which I cried. I cried at the end of a cartoon. Of course
you did.
It was great. Okay. But, yes.
Ah, fuck. Peg me. God damn it.
Well, either way, we thought this conspiracy theory out of Hard Dawn was fucking hilarious, so we put it in there. Yeah.
The fact that people believe it. There's a parody site out there. It's like The Onion called the Duffel Blog.
Yeah.
Which is military.
It's a military
looks like
parody
a real
site.
Military news site, but it's like The Onion. Do you know how many commenters on there?
Yeah, think it's real? Yeah. I swear, I understand.
Scary large number.
Scary large number.
Remember, these people vote.
People need to double check their bullshit filters.
Yeah, well, I can't complain too much. I have been fooled by a parody site a couple of times.
I will admit, once I was fooled by the Duffel Blog until I went back to see where did this come from.
Where did it come from?
And then I was like, that 30 seconds of agita was replaced by 5 minutes of feeling like an utter fool.
Yeah, I've done that before, so I can't throw stones in that regard.
But I didn't repost it saying, "Oh my God, this is." I
have done that once. I've done that once, which is
what was the topic? We gotta know.
I don't remember.
Yes, you do.
No, I really don't.
Don't try. You with the memory like a steel trap. Don't even try.
Let me think. I'll have to think about it. because it was several years ago. And I had no, you know what? I think it was on it was probably on a topic of a religion, a religious lawsuit or something like that. I don't know. I think it was something along those lines. It was a Christian, and I think what tripped me up on it was that the Christian Science Monitor picked up on it and ran with it first. So I reposted the Christian Science Monitor, and they were the ones that got originally fooled. And I should have gone back to their source, and I didn't. And when I got to their source, I was like, "Oh shit, it's a parody site." So I apologized to everybody, and then I deleted my post. But I remember it being the Christian Science Monitor that had the original. And I really trust them as a source for news. Because believe it or not, people, they actually are journalists. And they do try.
That's a great newspaper.
It is a great newspaper. They do try, and they do. And
some of the best embeds I worked with in Iraq were from the Christian Science Monitor.
And they blew it on that one. They blew it on that one. So I felt like I got bull-nosed. But so moving on, Mike, you put an article in here about NASA invites future engineers to enter Star Trek Replicator Challenge.
Yep.
Tell us more.
Basically, NASA and Star Trek are kind of like teaming up to give kids K through 12 to get them, thinking about engineering and 3D printing and design. So what they have challenged kids to do is to design I'm looking for the line. The Future Engineers Challenge tasks students with helping astronauts to live long and prosper on future deep space exploration missions by designing 3D printed designs that will enable crews to eat nutritious meals in the year 2050. So you're not designing something to be eaten, but something that would help astronauts to eat. So it could be something from a new utensil, a new way to harvest crops or food while in space, or whatever the case may be. But it's to help them, gain some engineering experience, some design experience, while thinking a little bit outside the box. And at the same time, there's that whole nutritious food angle, which is always important. So I thought it was a very cool project and a very fun thing to do for kids.
I'm loving this idea of getting kids to use 3D printed designs and 3D printers to come up with something new and creative, and to kind of spark that imagination that and come up with some unique designs. I'm actually even more excited because it kind of goes hand in hand with something that Alan and I were talking about last night, and that is the unfortunate and sad loss of many trade instructional classes in school. One thing that I think Nick and I, and probably Janet, I don't know about you,
we
Mike,
need more
you're
welders.
A little bit, huh?
We need more welders.
Yeah, I mean, the things that we were taught in high school, I mean, things that they just don't have anymore because they're too worried about whether or not you can take a test in history or math or something like that, and making sure that you can graduate with certain kinds of paper test taking skills, as opposed to whether or not you actually graduate from high school.
And trying to teach new math.
New math is, don't talk to me about that, but is this idea of the loss of actually training our children on how to do certain things. And of course, liberal arts being one of them, theater, music, dance. Those are things that are actually quite important because they actually teach a child to do things other than dance. You don't undertake a play and you don't undertake a character without understanding when that play was written, what was the history, and what were the sociological reasons why that play was written. I mean, there is a lot of history being taught when you're teaching a historical play. There is a lot of in music. When was that piece written? Who was that person? Why was that piece written to begin with? You don't play Mozart unless you understand what Mozart went through, and that he was writing for the masses and yet paid for by the royalty, and his passion was actually writing for the poor. his music was the pop music of the time that we get now. Why do so many people like movie soundtracks? They're the Mozart of our generation. These are people, John Williams and Michael Giacchino. These are music writers who are writing the soundtracks to the plays of our time.
Imagine Mozart, swinging in on a cannonball or on a wrecking ball.
And engineering is one of those. How many schools do you know still have woodshop?
Insurance.
How many schools do you know have welding? Insurance.
Well, technical schools do.
But those are after high school, hon.
I think
those are after
local
high school.
Community college will actually have
Janice's daughter was going to a technical high school.
Oh,
to be a plumber.
Okay, that's
Connecticut.
Cool.
I will say this about Connecticut. Connecticut has many technical vocational high schools.
Yeah, they don't have those. There's not a lot of those around at all. And you don't get out of. And how many classes have a home ec anymore?
I don't know, but.
It's unfortunate.
I took gourmet cooking my senior year.
Yeah. This is something that is going hand in hand. For me, is the idea that is it Mattel that just came back out with the new 3D printer toy that they used to have kind of. It's the reimagined version of the 3D printer toy from the 70s. That's awesome. To get kids into the idea that making something, don't tell them it's engineering. Tell them it's making something, right? They're printing something. It's like winky dinks in the oven. You just shrinky dinks in the oven. You threw them in there and they created something new and unique. You didn't tell somebody that they were designing something. You let kids make. And I think this is a perfect example of the education that's kind of missing right now, and yet sparks that interest that later on down the line, somebody's going to say, oh, I want to be a graphic designer. Oh, I want to be an engineer. Oh, I want to be a potter. It doesn't fucking matter. And it is, it's an odd thing that I'm just thrilled with this, the partnership with NASA and with Star Trek, and I think that it's a partnership that needed to be rekindled, and to use children as the means is just awesome.
The NASA Replicator Challenge, student winners will receive a range of prizes, including a trip to New York for a tour with an astronaut of the Space Shuttle Enterprise at the Intrepid Museum, a 3D printer for the winner's school, or Star Trek prize pack. They said that also they mentioned that past Future Engineer Challenge winners created a 3D printed tool that and printed tools and a clip catch container for nail clippings, as well as a flower tea cage. So
that is so
let
cool.
your imagination run.
It's so exciting. And the idea that, your kid could win something. By the way, it is Mattel that just is re-releasing what's called the Thing Maker. And it is a 3D printer for the home. And
my nephew got one for Christmas.
Did he really?
It's a mini 3D printer, and it allows him to create his little action figures.
Oh, that's so awesome.
I was like, I want one.
No kidding. Well, they're about $350. Actually, not even that. $299 retail in the U.S. That's pretty damn amazing.
That one is actually larger than the one that he got for Christmas.
So cool. So cool. Well, moving on. There was a Screen Rant column about Mike. Let's see. I'm bringing it up now.
How to make Star Trek awesome again. And it basically, it's in regards to, the new Trek that we're getting, both on the screen and in on the big screen, as well as on the I guess the web, I guess is one way to describe it, the new television series. But it has some good points. I mean, emphasize the science. I mean, science has always been a big part of Trek. Another thing that they said is action. Less is more. Yeah, well, action. Less is more. I mean, you don't need all of this big flashy explosions and stuff to tell a good story, So although action does have its purposes, it's not always a necessary thing to tell a good Trek story. Forge a new legacy. So in it they referred to Into Darkness and all of the homages that it included to Wrath of Khan. So they're saying, come on, give us something new. No more lens flares. Yes, please. Teamwork. Yeah, it's a group effort. It's never just one man by himself, making all the decisions. Oh, it is, but but he asks for help. Nix the fan service again. The goes back to overdoing it with all of the homages and stuff. It's like, we don't need that for a good Star Trek story. So bring back the lit. So again, this is they're referencing Moby Dick, Shakespeare, that we've seen throughout the various series. The references to literature and some of the quotes that were used. They even have a picture of Data and Geordi as Sherlock Holmes and Watson. It's been something that is very common through Star Trek, and it just gives you it creates interest in more or in beyond what they're simply doing. It hopefully opens up doors.
So you're saying it's Star Trek Beyond?
Let's get political, and for that song comes into my head. Physical. Okay. Anyways, so yeah, let's get political. That definitely would not hurt. Let's find out what's going on behind the scenes, and what's going on in what it takes to keep the Federation going. I think that would be fun. Let's see, new leadership, followed by new villains. So it's just a lot of it's common sense, but it's
I personally love the idea that the writer of this article thought perhaps it's time that Star Trek resorts to interesting and otherworldly measures to keep buoyancy in the franchise, and that maybe it's time that we have a new captain who's not human. I would love that, but personally, I doubt we'll get that.
Captain Ree.
Oh, fuck yeah. Wouldn't that be awesome? Have a big old dinosaur on the bridge.
Maybe on the bridge, but I don't know about captain. Call me prejudice.
You are.
You are. Oh, and a Gorn captain.
Captain Blue White.
A Gorn captain. Talk about crossing over.
I like Captain Blue White.
Horta for president.
Horta for president.
2405.
Baco Horta.
You know me. I would love. Here's the thing: as I would love an Andorian captain. You know me. I would love an Andorian captain. I really would.
That would be fun. Or
however, I would have to say I would be intrigued if it were a Tellarite.
Oh yeah, his first instinct is to call someone a dumbass.
I'm sorry. I'm resting all my money on hopes that the captain of the new series is a Pakled.
What do you mean you can't make it go?
Oh my god.
You make war.
So the literature references would be to Dr. Seuss, is that it?
Yes.
Sam, I am.
Red light.
Will you eat it with a Horta? Will you eat it with a Vorta?
I do not like green eggs and spam.
Green eggs and gach.
Pass the plomeek, please.
Oh my god.
Do not be a tease.
I do. I would love to see an Andorian captain.
So sick that you look pale. Have some Romulan ale.
To be Susie Plaxon, and I would love it to be. I'm putting a link into the chat room. We're moving on. There's still some general news that I thought was fun, and I know that it wasn't put on our list for a reason, Nick. But
What?
On September 16th, fans of the San Francisco Giants will have to do me proud because it will be Star Trek night at AT&T Park. for the 50th anniversary of Star Trek.
Oh, nice.
So the San Francisco Giants will offer a special package that includes tickets to the game and a collector's edition Star Trek Giants item. I'm dying. I want to go to this so bad. And well, believe it or not, I probably can't, because when is New York? It's like 2 weeks before that. Oh my God. And San Francisco is home to Starfleet Command. Fans can also expect various Trek-themed pre-game and in-game elements. To get your tickets, you can visit San Francisco Giants, or sanfrancisco.giants.mlb.com to purchase. And I'm so fucking jealous because this is my team, my city, and I want to go to Star Trek night at the Giants game.
Okay, first pitch. Who would you choose?
Sulu. He was born in that city.
That's true.
Same, just he would.
I would choose Scarlet Palmers, but that's me.
I would choose Sulu. Yeah.
So I got to tell you, so the Lady Renegade is doing her Voyager watch, and she's never seen it.
Yeah.
Somehow, and she's not here, so she can't defend herself, but that's okay. That's never stopped me before.
Right.
Somehow, almost to season 6, and she's never caught on to Seven's little thing of Naomi Wildman.
Naomi Wildman.
She's like, no, I never noticed. I'm like, how could you not notice? It's adorable.
It's totally adorable. She only calls her by both names.
Yeah.
It's very cute.
It was just such the tiniest thing, but it just added so much depth to Seven.
Yeah, and it's something that she doesn't do for anyone else. She doesn't walk around saying Balana Torres.
Right.
Well, getting the
Speaking of deadbeat parents, Samantha Wildman.
I know.
Grab the remote. Star Trek's on. Television news.
Trekmovie.com. Even though, Mike, you put this under television news, so we can use the...
Did I misfile it?
No. It's still about Brian Fuller's top 5 Star Trek episodes, so it kind of crosses the line. It does both. It's about Brian Fuller, who, of course, is going to be the showrunner for the new show, and his top 5 episodes.
Yeah, these are episodes that he
himself
had written, right, or contributed to or envisioned at some point in the process.
So Trek Movie they chose their 5 favorite Brian Fuller episodes from his previous work, and he wrote and he has 22 writing credits for Star Trek from the previous series, both DS9 and Voyager. So their top 5 episodes are number 5, Barge of the Dead.
Alana goes to the afterlife to go save her mother.
Number 4 was Relativity from Star Trek Voyager.
That's with time traveling 7 of 9? No. Wait.
It says are not traveling through time, but rather they're being traveled to. Throw in some fun scenes from Janeway taking first command of the this is the one.
It is the one with 7 of 9 where she's kind of
That's right.
going
where Captain Braxton comes back and tells her she needs to
go back into that. Yeah. Number 3, Living Witness, which everybody knows is the Mirror Universe episode of Voyager.
It's not quite Mirror Universe, but it definitely gives us a glance at it's kind of like the telephone game, you repeat something often enough and things start to change over time, and that's kind of the whole point of this is it's 700 years in the future, and they wake up the Doctor and find out that
episode.
It's one of my favorites, and
Chakotay with the full face tattoo.
Yes,
and all the details are wrong.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's one of my favorite, but this would give us a glimpse of what a possible Mirror Universe Voyager would have been like, I think.
Yeah. Number 2 was Empok Nor from
DS9.
Garrick is so good in this.
It's such a great episode.
Play that Cardassian chess game against Miles. Oh, so good.
I just got the chills, yeah. But number 1, and I have to agree with Trek Movie on this one, has got to be Bride of Chaotica.
So much fun. Oh my god.
It is awesome. What
it's
you
nowhere
talking
near
about?
as good as
retro
awesome.
sci-fi glory.
Please, it wishes it was Threshold.
It does not. Bride of Chaotica gave us the wonderful holodeck series that personally I just adore, and I want more. I want more of.
Janeway hot.
Let's see. The quote unquote big bad, or the alien of the week for this episode was a photonic life form, right? It was it was a naturally occurring photonic life form, and was it the Doctor's first? No, it wasn't his first away mission, but it was. No. He got to be president of Earth.
Funny. I love this episode just because it's so damn funny, huh?
I love the robot. Yeah, Captain Proton.
Tuvok disables him and just by.
And that's the other thing too, is any Captain Proton episode I absolutely adored, just because it was a wonderful kind of throwback and Bride of Chaotica does what Trouble with Tribbles does, and that is you throw away everything that has anything to do with like the serious Star Trek, and you just kind of run with it and go, this is just fun. This is just fun.
Now I want to ask you, as writers, I think they could have done that without some external threat. Just done an hour of them doing that, and I think it would have gone over just as well. You know what I mean?
It would have gone over just as well, except for I think at this point in time, the writers, you have to remember the hypersensitivity of the writers at the time, right?
Yeah.
This is a group of people who were already feeling like canon was weighing them down and that they weren't being presented with anything new or original. And the last thing they wanted to do was get slapped with another, oh my God, it's another holodeck malfunction.
But that's what I mean. They didn't even need that. They could have just showed almost like a slice of life where there is no external threat, but the crew, and then like getting Janeway to play
kind of like the lower decks, but what people did on their
team building effort.
And convincing her, like, remember in Bada Bing Bada Bang how they had to convince Cisco to take part in the heist?
Yes.
Convincing her though for her own relaxation and mental health, and that could have been the struggle. Captain, do this.
Being over,
and,
wasn't that kind of a trope as well? I mean, for Voyager, that was kind of a trope as well. I mean, how many times did the Doctor have to like stand up to Janeway and like say,
no, because she had the annoying Irish place.
It's kind of true. It's kind of true.
But if you look at these 5 episodes, I mean, as a kind of cross-section of what we can probably expect, I mean, the Barge of the Dead episode, I mean, he can develop new background for things that we have seen before, or for races that we've encountered before. So that is a unique aspect I definitely like. Living witness. I mean, he could really show us what alternatives there could be, or even how things can be evolved or misinterpreted over time. Impact Nor. I mean, the whole your just because he's your friend doesn't mean that he doesn't have a dark side, you know. Mm-hmm. And then Bride of Chaotica. I mean, he shows us that you know, it doesn't all have to be serious. It could also be lighthearted and fun and whatnot. I mean, I think the choice of Brian Fuller, just based on these 5 episodes, brilliant. I am so excited.
Yeah.
And I don't want anybody to think that I'm dissing I'm just saying that it's a problem with series television that you always have to have the ship in jeopardy thing, where one way to break out of the writer's box is to not have the ship in jeopardy.
No, you're right.
Just a slice of life. Now, and I think a great example, and Mike mentioned it, is Lower Decks.
Yes,
it was a personal thing. It wasn't the whole ship's going to be destroyed, blah, 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 blah.
No, but there was some peril with one of those individuals.
For especially for, what's her name? Because she was so awesome.
Yeah, she gets fried, man.
Well, I mean, if they had instead of doing the whole, Chip and Jeopardy holodeck malfunction thing, if they had shown like a slice of life, what people do on their off time, and they could have even added some Jeopardy. Someone got hurt on the holodeck, even with the safeties on, someone could very easily still sprain their ankle, or fall off and scrape themselves and still require some medical attention. But I'm just saying that there's things they could have done to kind of show what it's like, what life everyday life
they
is
touch on
like.
it so many times. I mean, even in Future Imperfect, when Riker talks to the little boy who kind of creates a scenario where he's his son, they talk about going to the holodeck and fishing at a lake, and that he hurts himself playing Parisi squares.
Shit, Miles is always hurting his arm.
And that's the other thing. Can you imagine how much fun it would have been just to follow Miles and Bashir and Kira and Dax in the
into the holodeck
in the medieval piece? I'm just would have been awesome. I understand where you're coming from, Nick, and I agree with you. I think it would have been awesome, but at the time, there was almost like a rule where you weren't allowed to. DS9 broke a lot of those rules, and then those rules got reinforced in Voyager. Like somehow, if you were on a ship, you weren't allowed to have a group of friends, that you weren't allowed to socialize, that somehow everything was all this kind of weirdly, which never exists, kind of
hierarchical.
Yeah, it's all almost sterile, where nobody really talks to each other. I'm still trying to figure out how B'Elanna and Paris got together. We never saw a real
maybe
courtship.
that's why DS9 still feels so different. Let alone that it's a space station,
because they had friends.
Just the interactions, right? Yeah, Dax with Captain Baudet, even though we never see him, or they mention other, I was up all night playing Tango, or Julian, and like you said, Miles and Julian, and their annihilation fantasies.
I would just like one episode of just them doing a week of annihilation, therapy, where they're going into and just having like every act is it would be a different one, where you would follow Miles and them, and they would do like, say the battle at Hastings, and then the next one would be
Battle of Britain. Because come on, don't you want to see Miles flying a Spitfire?
It would be, and
that
one
would probably be the easiest one to do, because it'd be just a mock-up cockpit with green screen. But
we've always said Voyager had third-level characters that had, seriously, Morn had more personality than Harry Kim.
Yeah.
And he never said a word.
Yeah.
That was a cheap shot at Harry Kim, but you know what I mean. You could almost say Chakotay. Seriously, Morn had more depth than Chakotay.
Chakotay was a great character that was terribly underserved.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
And I think that's why Deep Space Nine just feels so different than the rest of the franchise. And that's why I would say Enterprise would be second in the different feel. One, because of the it doesn't look like the others because the ship is so different.
Right.
But two, you had that wonderful actress, unfortunately, who died way too young, who
Kelly
was
Waymar.
Who it sure looked like she was going to be a recurring, almost like a Keiko in the way that they would have used her. She wouldn't be a main title character, but she would have been a regular kind of thing. You know who I'm talking about, right, Terry?
I'm trying.
I don't.
In which
the medical
show?
assistant. The
Liz
medical
Cutler.
assistant. Yeah.
Is the character name.
In which show?
Enterprise.
Oh, I know exactly. The Phlox love interest.
Okay, yeah.
Loved her.
She died way too young.
Yes.
But again, you had junior crew members like that, or even Trip's interaction with his engineering crew.
Yeah.
you just saw him interacting with others, where with Geordie it was usually Wesley and Data and the occasional, Barkley, but the occasional other. Where here Trip was always patting somebody on the back and talking to them, and it just
and even that lack of camaraderie between Reed and Hayes and their teams.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Would have been
human
jealousies and
real life behavior.
Yeah, it would have been interesting to see. I mean,
not one-upsmanship, but human when you're competitiveness.
Yes,
it was a competitive thing because they respected each other. But they didn't like
always
each other.
I expected, and I think it would have been more fun to follow through and kind of do a little bit of, is the competitive was really only between Hayes and Reed. I never saw it between their two teams. And I think that it would have been much more interesting to see their two teams kind of rolling their eyes in a consistent level going, these two guys have got to get over it because we don't have a problem with each other.
No, because we did see the Makos interacting with the others. And
they were fine.
It was fine. It was,
yeah.
And believe me, people, that's a real life thing. Two commanders may be ultra competitive, respect the hell out of each other.
Yeah,
but not like each other.
Not like each other, and I wish we could have gotten some more out of that. I really liked that idea of, how did the military infusion into Starfleet occur? And again, God damn it, more waste. Just God. I'm sad that it's gone because there was a lot of potential with that show.
God, the idea that Shran was going to be on the bridge.
I know.
Oh, Jeffrey Combs, I'm not gay, but I love you.
But I beg you.
I mean, you're no Casey Biggs, but that's different. Casey Biggs is all man.
We do, we're going to merge. No, we don't.
Ooh, Mr. Sulu, the way that you do. Sorry.
What? That
it's the Rat Pack,
so
Janet.
Well.
It's one of the Rat Pack songs. It's, hey, Mr. Sulu. And then there's, of course, Consomme.
Do so well.
The Consomme song is the best.
Consomme song's awesome.
Hey, I saw that on Star Trek. Technology news.
Mike, Gizmodo came out with a very interesting article about a new form of optical data storage. It's very Star Trek-y, although I can't say it kind of looks like a what do they call them? The little plastic
isolinear chips.
Yeah, it kind of look like an isolinear chip.
That's my thinking too, and the fact that it holds so much data and it is on disk like. I mean, it's certainly. Let's see. Let's start at the beginning.
It looks like a POG. It looks like a plastic POG, and if you don't know what a POG is, then you're way too young.
POGs are a new thing as well. I mean, they the younger folks still get them. Yeah, they come and go.
Okay, so it does. It looks like a big plastic tiddlywink. So I'll go older than that.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's basically a little piece of quartz glass, or it's a piece of quartz, a piece of crystal, and they figured out a way to store 360 terabytes of data on it, which is phenomenal. But what made me think of Star Trek with this is the fact that the isolinear chips are these little pieces of crystal-like material, and they do have permanent information on it that they use to swap in and out to give the ship various whatever. So it kind of works. So I don't know. We don't know what those chips actually do or whatever, but again, this is one of those things that I thought was, although it's not directly Star Trek, it just seemed like it would work. But yeah, it's amazing technology how much they can squeeze onto a little wafer of crystal,
and the information kind of stays forever.
Yeah, it is permanent.
It doesn't degrade.
Yeah,
which is remarkable.
Amazing as well. So
there is also some. get to gaming news because I do want to talk about that.
I want to play a Star Trek game. Gaming news.
We'll start off with timelines. So now, Mr. Nick, that you've been playing timelines, have you spent any money yet?
I have not.
Hey, okay, good for you. I didn't get to play this week at all. So, Mike, tell us what's up with the game.
I sat in their Disruptor stream again this week and had another question asked and answered on the air. They butchered my name last week, but this week I just told them, "Call me Story if you answer one of my questions." So they did that, which was very nice, swell of them. Really, nothing's really new. I mean, they're still prepping for the next major update, which is going to have a lot of cool stuff. We're going to get the ship upgrade system. We're supposed to be getting auto slotting for Android, which iOS already has. Hopefully the bug fixes that Terry's been experiencing will be resolved. But it's a
work in progress. It's a new game.
Yeah. So, but it's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying the game. Nick seems to be enjoying the game. So yeah.
There's not a lot for fleets to do, but
so
fleets
far
do exist, right?
Yeah.
But and we're full up already.
Many times over. I had to delete people, and before I can even, so Nick can join the fleet, and it's like before
30 seconds later, he was like,
it's already
let me do
full
it again.
And it's like it kept happening. It's like, dude, let me know as soon as you're ready. I'll delete somebody.
And that's crazy. That's crazy. I don't understand why that is, but our fleet is full, and if you get booted, we're sorry.
But Trek Geeks, our friends over at Trek Geeks, they did pay a visit to Star Trek Timeline's headquarters, Disruptor Beam, and they had a fun little interview with John Radoff. So link will be in the show notes. Check it out. Support Trek Geeks.
Not to be confused with Bernie Madoff.
No.
our good people, entertaining show, and good friends of ours.
Can I just take a second here? Quick squirrel.
Yeah.
TCM, thank you for existing. That's all.
Okay.
I saw a movie last night I thought I had seen and I had never seen, and it's such a classic, and I don't know how I hadn't seen it. 7 Days in May.
Ooh.
Right? But TCM just shows
great movies.
How far Hollywood has slid.
I don't disagree.
But yesterday was Sidney Poitier's birthday, which you talk about somebody that would have been an amazing captain in Star Trek.
No shit.
Oh my God.
I know.
So, guess who's coming to dinner? And Terry, you liked that posting about that.
Yeah, I did.
And just so many great movies, and just I know I make a lot of references that like Terry and Janet laugh at that nobody else seems to get.
That's very true.
Watch some TCM. I can't say watch TV Land anymore because they don't air like they used to.
No. But yeah, Turner Classic Movies. There's also AMC. It has some great old movies. So Matthew Henderson's way ahead of the game here. So this is cool. So yes, watch those movies.
Man, I haven't been in the game. What the fuck is
Okay,
this?
don't worry. We're moving into Star Trek we're moving into Star Trek Online. Star Trek Online announced this week, and the overhaul of don't everybody panic. The overhaul of the actual skill system. This is
I have him.
I know.
Go ahead.
I know.
Go ahead.
Okay, so. This not to be confused with specializations. This is the skill system. It's all those tiny little dots that you fill out as you level up from 0 to 50.
They've made it more consistent with the specialization system.
They've actually made it more consistent with the specialization system. Well, it was fine for those of us who have played for 6 years, but apparently it's still damn confusing for new players. So they've overhauled it to be easier. To be less confusing and to be consistent with the specialization system that you access once you hit level 50.
Just answer. Am I going to have to go in and redo it again?
Yes, but it'll be super easy. Okay.
One of the things that they're changing that makes it more like the specialization system is the fact that for every level you get basically 1 point to unlock in the various
Sorta.
trees.
I've been playing it now I've been on Tribble.
Oh, you have?
I've been on Tribble now since they uploaded the system. I've created a new character. I have been leveling her and using the new trait system or new skill system. And it's you get 2 space points for every level or every other level or something like that, but 1 ground. So there's like 25 ground traits that you can use, and there's no limit. You can it's not like you get so many points and you have to split them up into, you can only have so much in ground and only have so much in space. They're giving you distinct space points and distinct ground points to spend, and it will be possible to max out your ground all the way through, and I like that. They have taken away one of the traits in ground, and that was combat specialist. Combat specialist used to provide a crit, crit points,
bonus.
I guess you would say. Yeah, like that has been removed, except for the fact that you can still, it's now part of, it's just kind of moved into ground. They've taken the crit out of it. No, there's those of us, there's those of us who play ground, prefer ground and have specialized in ground as much as we could. And that, as a range fighter, for me, I enjoyed the fact that I like tools that give me crit, because that's what helps a sniper, which is what Beth is. She doesn't like to deal with melee. Be that as it may, now you have 3 tracks. Like a lot of other games, this is actually pretty easy. You still have your engineering track, you have your science track, and you have your tactical track. You can spend points in any of those that you wish, not unlike what you could before. Now the pictures are simple and easy. The traits that you can pick up as the skills that you pick up as you level are not unlike what we had before. It's just that a lot of them, instead of having 315 different distinct places you could spend your points, they've been combined into like 50.
Here's something.
Yeah.
Al, I know you're listening, Al. First of all, hello to you and Amy. You guys are the rock. One thing I wish our characters could do. You've got the standing while shooting and the kneeling while shooting. I wish we could go prone.
Yeah. That'd be interesting.
Because I'm thinking like the one where you have to clear the trenches and stuff.
Yes.
And defend the bridge.
I've been playing that. Yeah, I love those.
That would be
sniper mode.
Yeah, full on sniper mode.
That'd be awesome.
And because like right now, if you have certain things and you use a certain treble, if you're kneeling, you get some modifiers because it's a more stable shot and everything. Well, going prone should be even more. Just something I would love to see. Just because it would add just a little something. And can you imagine, Terry, doing PvP and you're able to take up a nice sniper position from the prone position?
Beth would totally be all over that.
Right?
Yeah. No, seriously, she would.
And you'd get if you were prone in a sniper position, you'd get like a stealth bonus on top of everything else.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
Speaking of stealth bonus, that's one of the traits that you can get in the space points. Is there's things that you can select. Now, here's the other thing that people are going to have to choose. That it's not necessarily a hard choice. It depends on how you play your game. But if you spend all of your points in a specific line, like tactical, and you go and you spend all of your points and you truly specialize as a tactical officer, the moment that you spend all of your points in that line, you open up what are called ultra traits. And those open up and you get even greater rewards for being a super specialist. So if you start to spend your points
like
in science,
like heat vision or something.
Oh, you know what? I did I take a screenshot? Let me see if I did. I may have. I don't know if I did or not. But these are ultra points that I thought were actually kind of cool. And I think I'll probably, I don't know if I'm going to do it with all of my characters. No, I didn't take a screenshot. I didn't think I was going to do it with all of my characters, but I might do it with one or two of my characters. And the reason why is because the one thing Tactical has always had a problem with is if you're flying an escort and if they're a little bit, they're glass cannons, right?
Yep.
And so I've always taken a little bit out of my skill points and put them into hull.
Yep.
Just so I can survive a little bit.
Yes, the Defiant should not blow up so easy. After what we've seen in Deep Space Nine.
It's true. Although I have to say that isn't quite as bad now that I have pilot skills in those little pilot escorts.
Yeah, that helps a lot.
So much fun. So those specializations will still be there after you reach your certain level. So you get to now kind of lay the foundation of your character in a little bit of a different fashion. I was not, I was not pleased when I very first saw this change. I'm still a little bit hesitant about my loss of crit in the combat specialist.
Yeah.
But be that as it may, there are mergers. So what they've essentially taken is they've taken two skills that used to occur before, and they've kind of merged those numbers together and created one singular trait. Here's the other thing that I think is important for people to understand is that when you choose a trait, you decide you're going to spend a point. You click on the little square. It's Matthew Anderson has a great picture that he put up here of the new system, and you're seeing 2 rows of engineering, 2 rows of science, 2 rows of tactical. When you click on the little square, like you do when you buy a specialization point, very simple. You hover you can click on it, and a little description box comes up of what that trait is. But in this system, you have your choice of 2. So when the box comes up, there's a radio button you have to click on to say, that's the trait I want. So really, your options are great and numerous, but once you select one, that's the one that sticks. So there is a very unique way now that you're going to be able to trait and specialize. So not only can you be a tactical specialist, but now you can really look at, am I really going to throw points into, say, critical hits or am I going to be looking at a more defensive posture? Am I going to be looking at throwing my points into every possible increase that I can get in, say, cloaking, which is something that you'd be able to do. Are you going to be a sneaky tactical person? Are you going to be an overt tactical person? Are you going to be or try to live a little bit longer? So for every box that you see in Matthew Anderson's points there, each one of those boxes that I've seen so far represents a choice of 2 different traits. Now I understand why they're retrading this. And they're doing it because people aren't respecing at all. And this gives you an opportunity to go back and spend those respect points. Say, you know what?
But I've never...
I haven't either.
I think I did once with Satan.
Yeah.
But then I got him exactly where I wanted him to be. So why would I respec?
Because if you're going to be doing anything let's put it, the one thing I kind of miss, the one thing that how do I say this? Okay. There's one thing, and I hate to compare it to Lotro because they are 2 totally different games. But the one thing I really like about the way that Lord of the Rings Online allows you to spec your character is they allow you to choose a line, meaning are you going to be a defensive player? Are you going to be a healer? Or there's 3 levels. There's pure DPS, medium DPS, and then defensive. And you can change them on the fly while you're there. You can change your specs. the only thing they do is they charge you for the other 2 lines. So if you want to use all 3 lines, you just buy the other 2 and you just trait yourself out 3 times. And then say you're in the middle of a battle and you're like, oh crap, I'm never going to, I'm total DPS right now. I'm facing a troll or whatever. I need to get into defensive mode here and just use traps or something. So I switch from red line to yellow line while I'm in battle.
You're able to make a call on the fly.
You're
Hot
able to
swap
make a
spec
call.
points.
You're totally...
Omaha.
Yes, exactly.
They kind of, Stowe does allow you to do something similar with your ship builds and whatnot, but you're saying that Lotro lets you do it with your actual
traits, with your actual, and the moment that you do, your entire tool set changes.
Right.
So tool. I'm hoping, to be honest with you, this way that they're changing it
could lead to that.
This is definitely looking a little bit like the ability to hot swap your traits. That would be awesome. So I'm hoping that this is where it's leading. I can understand why they wouldn't do it all at first. They want people to get used to the idea of, look, if I wanted to be a cloaking tactical person and I threw a bunch of points in there, I would like to be able to hot swap out my traits for a more efficient critical or pure DPS type of format. If in the future they decide that they could do a hot swap type of thing, I hope this lays the foundation for it, because I think it would be awesome.
I mean, I could see, me personally, I can see myself with like 5 different sets of skill points. One for purely tactical, one for purely engineering, one purely for science, and then kind of 2 or 3 different variants of mixed bags. Maybe one with a little bit stronger engineering, or one other with a little bit more oomph for tactical.
Right.
But so I hope that's the direction that they're going in. That would be totally cool.
I don't know. But I have been playing it in Tribble, and I have actually had to say I was concerned at first, and it's not so bad. So far, I'm leveling my character up. I'm choosing my traits, and those traits seem to be working. Haven't had a problem on ground, to be honest with you. And here's that I ran into a bug in the Azure Nebula. Remember the very first mission that you get?
Okay.
Where you have to go rescue the SS Azura.
Mm-hmm.
I soloed it because my entire away team got stuck on the transporter pad back on the ship.
Oh, transporter accidents suck.
So even though I faced all of those Orions, I was a solo, and I was able to get through it. I took some damage.
Isn't that everybody's dream, to face off with a whole bunch of Orions?
So I was able to get through it. Now, mind you, the other 2 things too is that I did take a lot of damage, but I think a lot of that was because I haven't changed my my keyboard setup yet in Tribble, because you know how everything gets reset.
I didn't know that.
You have to, how your camera follows you.
Yeah.
Auto looting, you have to turn on.
Oh my God.
Because I would keep getting the little window that would say take or take all. And I'm like,
wait, there's an auto looting setting?
Yeah.
I've been doing it the hard way the whole time.
You get the little window?
I get the window every time.
I do too.
Oh my God, go into your settings and hit auto loot. It just jumps into your inventory. You never have to push the little button again.
God damn it.
Yeah. There's auto loot button. And the other thing too is I'm used to, Nick, you were just talking about crouch and aim.
Yes.
So C and X.
Right.
Okay. C button, you push it once, your character crouches. Go
ahead.
And in the main game, if you push X, it puts you into a tactical kind of aiming mode.
Yes.
All right. In Tribble, unless I don't know, if I push X, it only the tactical aiming mode only lasts as long as I'm pushing the button.
Oh. Ooh, ouch.
Exactly.
I'll tell you what feature I love.
So I think that might be a setting in the keyboard. I don't know.
I'll tell you what feature I love, but I never use because I just screw up so bad. When you hit B.
Yes.
And you get the scope.
The goddamn reticle.
Oh my God! But I'm shooting like a stormtrooper.
It's all over the place.
Because with a mouse, you try to shoot, but your hand also moves at the same time. That's That's why I need one of those ball mouses.
Yeah,
that would be.
I can see it. I don't use shooter mode. I go.
I don't because it's a dismal failure for me.
It's same for me. It drives me nuts. It makes me dizzy. I'm not.
Now I've seen people that's what they use and they kick ass with.
Right.
But yeah, they don't have like Parkinson's or whatever I have.
That's seasick mode for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's grab a bucket and
yeah.
It's
and Janet's crazy. Going, I have no idea what's going on.
What's going on, what you're talking about.
I'm just doing a crossword puzzle here. Don't worry about me.
So either way, I have to say
Kasha?
So I have to say I was very I've been enjoying it so far. I'm less concerned than I was when I first found out about it, but I can understand why some people may not find it as
rage.
Yeah, I think a lot of players are going to see it for what it is, and that is, yes, it's a combining of skills, and it's making you choose half as many skills in the hopes that in the future you'll respec over and over again, I guess, and I don't know. Maybe buy spec tokens. I don't know.
You know what I miss?
I'm really hoping to go in the direction of, if you want to sell me something, sell me spec platforms that I can hot swap.
Yeah, sell me something I can actually use.
Yep.
You know what I miss?
Because once I get set up, I don't want to change it. I mean,
exactly.
Really.
Yeah. It took a lot for me to get Satan to where I wanted him.
Yeah.
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 And why change it now?
Because you're going to have to. I know.
You know what I miss, though? The gentle, warm embrace, the loving, almost feather-like kiss of the Stowe forums.
Where pegging was like a requirement?
Pegging was foreplay.
Pegging was foreplay. Yeah, I don't miss the forums. The only people left in the forums, for the most part, I think there's like 3 really nice people, and I don't know why they stay there. That's kind
because they're so nice.
Glutton for punishment. Oh, by the way, Janet, number 4 across is Galileo.
Say that again?
Number 4 across is Galileo.
Shit.
Oh.
That makes much more sense now.
All right. And seeing as though, you know what? We did have some product news.
I need more Star Trek stuff. Product news.
Some of which we talked about before. The one thing I really do want to talk about and get out there is, we know the Mega Blocks are coming. We touched on those before. We knew about the Playmates toys. We talked about those before. However, I did want to touch on real quick about the Eagle Moss.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Did you say
what?
Did you say Playmobil? No, you didn't say Playmobil.
No.
Oh.
No.
Remember Playmobil?
Oh yeah.
Yes. Is that still around?
Yes,
wow.
I think so.
Can you Star Trek Playmobil?
What the? I'm just seeing that meme. How the hell did that picture get taken? All right, so anyway,
you've never seen that picture before?
No, I really haven't.
Oh yeah, that's an awesome picture.
That's awesome.
Well, real quick, Mega Blocks. One thing that I don't think we have discussed is the Kubros. Kubros, maybe it's Brothers, I don't know. But basically these are a building block version of the Funko Pop figures. Basically you get a box of bricks and you build a specific character like Spock or Skeletor.
They even have a little Guardian of the Galaxy or Guardian of Forever.
I want Skeletor in Timelines.
But it's kind of cool. So that is something new that I didn't know about, and it coming from Mega Block, and so I think it's kind of cool.
I like the little Klingon with the little batlet. That's very cute.
Yep.
So, and again, Eagle Moss has come out with the new some more of their official Star Trek's Starships collection. These are beautiful partially die-cast metal models of ships that
Licensed,
you can get.
right?
Licensed, absolutely. And it's kind of like a ship of the month club. You get 2 ships once every other month for $20 a piece.
Did you see the Doug Drexler thing that Dayton posted of the NX refit?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it beautiful?
And it's going to be larger than the standard ship.
And that's going to be an enlarged one. It's going to be
sure
engorged.
Is enlarged.
It's engorged.
Yeah, it's turgid.
It's turgid. It's a turgid NX refit.
Oh
it's beautiful.
There she is.
But they have come out with pictures. And again, thanks to our friends over at the Trek Collective for kind of following up on this. But it's the Klingon transport, the Enterprise A, Baxial, and a couple of more. There's
Baxial is Neelix's ship from Voyager.
Right. And the USS Raven.
Also from Voyager.
Which is that beautiful kind of a bigger than a shuttle, small transport that Seven's family was on.
I love the Voyager writers forgot Neelix's ship for most of the series, so when they had to go somewhere, they took a shuttle.
Yeah. I know.
Sorry, I'm just...
Yeah. There's also a Voth research vessel.
Yep, also from Voyager.
Xindi aquatic ship. The Xindi aquatic ship.
I love that ship.
Beautiful.
I still, to this day, that scene during one of the battles where it gets hit and you see the water venting and oh my God.
And it's so sad.
The Xindi aquatic ship and the Antares freighter ship they're both renderings. They don't actually have models for them yet.
How would they build those ships?
I think they're 3D printed in a way.
No, he meant Xindi, the Xindi aquatics.
How would they build them?
Pack-led labor.
See, now you're just talking like a man with a paper asshole.
well, they're aquatic, so it'd be Pacificans. They subcontracted to the Pacificans.
Oh, this is taking an ugly turn.
Well, speaking of ugly turn, we do need to move on to the 50 for 50.
What's your favorite episode? GNT shows 50 for 50.
50 for 50! It's 50 for 50 time, people! I'll tell you what, when we get to number 1, if you guess it, a Buck Buckeye rookie card!
You're going to have to make one of those,
Yeah, we need to get some of those made.
My soda's gone again.
This week, we're going to be discussing numbers 30 and number 29 in our countdown. Again, voted on by you, our listeners.
You only have yourselves to blame.
You only have yourselves to blame. So number 30 was DS9.
Yes.
Season 6, episode 13, Far Beyond the Stars. Far Beyond the Stars. It's the Benny episode.
It's real.
It's the first time we got to see everyone without their prosthetics and makeup.
Yes, very nice.
And a very Twilight Zone episode, if I do say so myself. It had a Twilight Zone ending.
All it needed was to be in black and white. I think that would have been even cooler if they kind of filmed it in black and white.
It could have been, although I think that might have been too gimmicky because if a person's remembering, they're going to remember in color. They're not going to remember as a TV show. So I think
with a laugh track,
but from the viewer's perspective, I thought that would have been kind of cool. But
but it wasn't supposed to be the viewer's perspective. True. It was supposed to be Benny's.
Yeah.
So, but very interesting. Again, this episode involves. Is it Jake that gets kind of held? What is this about? Who gets?
Jake gets shot.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
he gets killed by a cop.
He's a street pimp. He's a hustler
trying to break into a car with a crowbar.
The scene that there's so many scenes in this episode that just stand out, but it's when the 2 cops are rousting Benny.
The 2 cops being Ducat and Shran
and Vorta. But as they're stomping his head, literally, there's a quick half a second flash. It happens like twice, I think, where they're back in their full. They're back to being Ducat and Weyoun, And that just creeped me out the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For anybody who wants,
That's when the illusion starts to break down. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, it's quite all right, and it's a fascinating episode where Cisco, and I can't really call it a time travel episode as much as
the prophets are they're communicating with them.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
they're fucking with them. But it ends up where Cisco takes on or remembers, or you have to see the whole thing, because at the end you're still not sure what the fuck happened.
He's having doubts about his role in all of this, and he's thinking about leaving, of quitting, of throwing in the towel. And this is the prophet's way of telling him to hold the line, to keep going.
Well, of showing him why he's important.
Yeah,
right.
But there's so many Easter eggs in this. Like the cover to the magazine is artwork from the original series, and different bylines and titles and things like that you'll see throughout our little Easter eggs. It's so
really
brilliantly
the first
done.
time. Yeah, it's really the first time that the series almost runs the fine line of breaking the fourth wall.
Well, and you know
It's
what
very
Ira
meta.
Stephen Bear originally wanted to do, right? For the finale.
He
wanted it all to come out that
it was all part of.
It was
He
all part of
Benny's
really
universe.
wanted to pull a Dallas.
Yes.
Oh, I would have been so pissed.
Coma Dream.
Yeah,
It would all been just
they talked
Benny's
him out of
dream.
it.
Cisco
Oh,
was
man.
still aboard the ship at Wolf 359.
No, it was all from Benny's writings.
That all of
All
Star
of
Trek
Star
was
Trek
Benny's head.
was.
Yeah.
Well, that would have been another way they could have gone with it if they wanted to piss people off.
Yeah.
It was
Well, there's
all-
a great article by our friends Paula Block and Terry Erdman.
Hi guys, we love you.
That they wrote back in 2013 for the 15th anniversary of this episode. So I'll put that into the chat room, and Mike, you can pick up on it. Let me get that right. And it's a wonderful article talking about how it ends up being one of the most important DS9 episodes, and even Star Trek episodes for that. And the fact is that they were really able to delve into not just the racial inequalities of America in the 50s, but also
And gender as well.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
Kara's character had to go by a different name, like DC Fontana did.
Not unlike DC Fontana. And any Star Trek fan who understood who DC Fontana is would
Got that nod to her.
would have gotten that nod. And it is an extraordinary episode talking about how life was at the time, and yet how
And sadly, it's still poignant today.
it is very
And-
much so.
A lot of the things that it talked about are still showing up in the news, which makes me sad.
There are many amazing performances in this, but I've got to single Armin out in this one.
Kicked ass.
And Renee Auberjonois.
All he wanted was fresh donuts.
Yeah, but Renee Auberjonois put in a position he doesn't like what he has to do.
Right.
But he has to, because otherwise he loses his job.
Yeah.
Right.
And
You can see it in his eyes and on his face. It kills him.
And that that was a competitive. You fought for every dime that was spent, because there were so many pulps out there like that.
Right.
Like the comic book market, you had to fight for every sale. And yeah, it's fascinating, to use a phrase.
Their summary paragraph, Terry and Paula's summary paragraph in this article says, which is one more thing that consistently keeps the episode among fans' top 10 favorite Deep Space Nine episodes. Far Beyond the Stars presented a page of our history from a time when science fiction was becoming a part of the mainstream, observes Avery Brooks. And when we talk about those writers from the 1950s, he adds, gesturing towards Deep Space Nine stage sets, we're talking about the reason that we're even here, and the reason why you're reading this right now. It is exactly that. It is a great introspective is to the history of not just America in the 50s, but science fiction itself, and the reason why it became a genre that still to this day survive.
So top 10 DS9 episodes is what they said, and out of the R6 series, it chimes in at number 30. So
correct.
That's pretty good still, really good. So great episode.
And if you're one of our younger listeners, or even new to science fiction, because New Trek has pulled in some people who never watched science fiction really,
right?
But the 50s were an amazing time for science fiction, because I don't think you can understand the abject fear people were living with in the new nuclear age. It was a world that had been so transformed by one single device, and Sputnik then even added profoundly to that fear. People fear change, and the 50s, I would say as much as the 60s, if not more so in many respects, was a time of abject fear for many people.
Yeah. Miss Jespa, do you have any thoughts on the episode?
I think that selecting that time period was absolutely that they were definitely trying to play off the what was considered to be the first golden age of science fiction, and also a bit of Red Scare and a bit of how writers had been blacklisted. If you want a very approachable history of blacklisting, just watch the Woody Allen film The Front.
Oh.
Actually,
oops,
sorry, the Buck Mackay thing. No, I'm serious.
I believe you. That's why I'm laughing at you.
I am going to post a link.
Okay.
In the chat room, and Mike, if you can put it on our page, because it's very apropos for what we're talking about. It is a podcast called "You Must Remember This."
Oh, cool.
You must remember this. It is, this woman does an amazing audio show about Hollywood's hidden, the podcast exploring the secret and or forgotten histories of Hollywood's first century. Well, right now she's doing a series on the Blacklist.
Oh.
And it is so in depth. It is not your normal Blacklist wrong. It explains exactly what was going on, why people might have joined the Communist Party in the 30s, because of the rise of fascism, and they saw it as an alternative. And then there were others who truly believed. And it's so far she's 3 episodes in talking about, and here I
put it in the chat room. Cool.
It is a great, and this podcast is amazing in of itself, just the history of Hollywood. And again, if you're listening to us, I would suggest, because we oftentimes bring up influences and
inspirations.
Thank you.
Cool. So I have a question for all 3 of you about this episode. The ending.
Mm-hmm. I like the vagueness of it.
Did you? Yeah. Awesome or
because that's how I imagine having orb experiences, and particularly in Benjamin Lafayette Sisko's case, direct contact with the prophets and the influence that they wield often without ever doing anything, but he has to take into account, being the emissary, that moment is just, what it must be like for him all the time.
Insane. Ms. Janet,
because he's living a dual life.
I mean, the very first. Everybody remembers the first time they watched this episode, and at the end, how did you feel? Did you feel that the ending was like, "Oh, that's cool," or "Oh, that's fucked up. That was stupid"? What was it? Because for me, I was kind of like, "Oh man, really?" But I do that at most Twilight Zones.
It feels very Twilight Zone-y and kind of philosophical too, where you're really not sure what's the POV, what's the perspective, is there something more out there Are we just part of something smaller? One of a classic philosophical question is always, what is, are you just an observer of the universe, or are you the creator of the universe? And so there's the question right there. Is Cisco sort of watching what's going on with Benny? Is Benny instead the one who's pulling the strings and placing the action figures and deciding, you're going to fall in love and you're going to fight and you're going to go here and you're going to do that. That's a lot for a television show to be asking people.
It sure was.
And I also saw it as Benny was now a part of him after this experience, would forever be a part of him.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Kind of like Picard in The Inner Light.
Inner Light, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a great connection.
That's a really great connection. Mike, how did you feel? Is he gone?
No, I'm here.
He's pondering.
It's he now knew his purpose. I mean, he knew more why he was there. He didn't have all the answers. He still won't have all the answers for a while. But the doubt that he had about whether or not he was supposed to be there, whether or not he still had work to do, that was pretty much answered for him. So I felt like this was going to be a new chapter for him, and I think the show was going to change because of it, or at least his character in the show.
Holy shit, Mike, you saying that just triggered something that I can't believe I never thought of until now.
What's that?
The ass kicking at the hands of the cops.
Yeah.
Is the ass kicking that the Dominion has been giving.
Yes.
How did I never put that together before?
and even you had mentioned the bada bing bada bang episode, the Vic's, he is so adamant about not participating in Vic's because of whatever, because of Las
how
Vegas
they were treated.
Yeah.
How African Americans were treated in the 50s. Yeah.
Yeah. This directly feeds into why he doesn't want to go.
You know what, Mike? You just resolved a huge problem I had with that episode, because I didn't even think about that. But you're right.
For him, it's a living wound.
I never, ever picked up on that, but you are absolutely right, and I am now willing to forgive that entire episode.
Look at Cassidy. She's okay with it because she never had that experience as Benny.
That's exactly right.
So she was over it, but it was, it's just like...
Well, she not even over it.
It wasn't over it.
It was not an issue for her.
Exactly.
Where he got his ass kicked.
He
for the color of his
experienced
skin.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, Mike, thank you so much, because I'm serious.
Perfect.
That has always been one of my biggest pet peeves about the Bada Bing episode, was just like, where the fuck does that come from? Well, now I get it. It does. It comes from Benny.
It felt like a 90s rationale being put in the 24th century, but Mike just... Ira Stephen Bear, send Mike a check.
Seriously. And
like I said, it changed him.
It did. And now I'm serious. You just saved that entire episode for me. I'm not kidding. Yeah, poor Alan has heard me kvetch about that episode time and time again.
You're welcome, Alan.
Yeah. So now I won't.
You're going to get a
perfect
big
sense.
Fuzzy kiss on the lips when Alan sees you.
Ooh. And now we'll move on to number 29. Number 29 in our countdown.
29.
Number 29 in our countdown.
Nah, one before, 28. One after, number 30.
It comes from Enterprise.
Awesome.
Season 4.
Okay.
Episode 7.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
The Forge.
Yes. Geordi was amazing in this. It's good to see. No?
Yes.
It's The Forge, not La Forge.
But in France, wouldn't it be La Forge?
I think Forge would be something completely different.
La Forge?
What about Remulac, a small town in France?
Here, have some fried eggs and beer.
Nice pull. The Forge is the 7th episode of the 4th season of Enterprise. It originally aired on November 19th, 2004 on UPN. It was directed by Michael Grossman. The script was written by Judith and Garfield Reeves-Stevens and formed the first part of a 3-episode arc called The Awakening, which included Awakening and Kirshara.
So cool that we spent so much time on Vulcan.
And we got to go to Vulcan for a long period of time and confused the hell out of Terry because I thought that by this point, the Vulcans had already assumed that logic was part of their life and that Surak, so yay.
Well, some had.
It did have that commentary on religion in general, where because they don't have the words of Surak, it's open to interpretation, and Archer makes that comment and is like, "Yeah, I know all about that shit."
Yeah, no kidding. That's true.
I was like, "Oh yeah, we know all about that shit."
And here's my thing, and please, the three of you, talk me through this, because I thought that the rejection of logic was the reason why the Romulans left, which occurred hundreds of thousands of years beforehand. What?
No, it wasn't the rejection. It was the...
That was my only problem with this whole damn thing was I thought that
But Terry, that was from the books.
No. It's from, when does TOS occur? After this, right?
Yeah, but they didn't say.
Within 50 some odd years.
They never said why the
Romulans talked about
left.
No, they had already evolved. They had already evolved into a different species.
But they never gave the backstory for why. All they knew was that the Romulans looked like the Vulcans. They never said that they left Vulcan. That came from the Rihansu series.
So they're just Vulcans? No, because it doesn't Spock himself say they're related?
He gives a hypothesis, but he doesn't know. No, remember this. Oh fuck! What is the name? What is the name of it? Oh my god!
It's not something that they advertise.
What's the name of the episode? Holy fuck!
Of what? Of the Enterprise
TOS
incident?
Enterprise of what?
Yeah, Balance of Terror.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Remember, that is the first time anyone in the Federation has seen the Romulans.
Right.
No one had ever seen them. The negotiations were done over subspace and all of that. So Spock is only hypothesizing.
Yeah,
they don't know that.
Yeah,
it's not until the Rihansu series that the books where they spell out how they left.
Okay. So
even from the Vulcans themselves, the everyday Vulcan doesn't really know that part of their history. It's not something that they willingly even tell themselves.
Okay, so then, as Louis D'Onofrio puts out, they talk about Picard and Spock in Unification in TNG,
which came so much later.
Yeah.
It came so much later than what? Here's the thing: is that when you're dealing with the timeline, you're dealing with the timeline. So even though TNG occurred 80, 150 years later than Enterprise or whatever, the fact of the matter is they set in stone before Enterprise was written.
No, but I mean, it came later. I think the Rihansu series had come out first, and that they used that.
Who did?
The writers of Unification.
Which occurred long before the writers of Enterprise. So it's in canon by the time I get there.
Oh, Dayton's head just exploded.
I know. I'm sorry, Ken. I'm sorry, sweetheart. The fact of the matter is they've already said in the timeline that the Romulans left eons beforehand, thousands of years beforehand. And that part of that reason was because they were rejecting the ideals of logic, which, according to the Forge, did not really get into play.
Wait a minute. He says they're brothers. But do they say in that they left Vulcan?
Well, how else would they be out on their own if they didn't leave?
Like Alpha Centauri, you know?
Their colony? I don't know. See, and that was the only thing about the Forge that kind of tripped me up from the very beginning was I thought that by the time they had already reached Earth and first contact had been made, logic was a part of, and that the teachings of Surak were a part of their society on the whole.
They were, but they were also open to interpretation because the writings had been lost. We don't know at what point they were lost.
I took the Kishara, that's the name of it, right? Yeah, the Kishara.
Yeah, the Kishara.
To be almost as if Jesus came back and said, "Hi, I'm here. This is what I actually said. This is who I am."
Okay.
Whereas now you have people who interpret it differently, it'd be a little harder if he came back and said, "No, I never said that." You tool.
Yeah, I like what Alan or what Kajiro just said in the chat room. Maybe the Vulcans are a colony of Romulus. Just saying.
Yeah, they are.
Okay, and you know what? Ross had another point. It could have been a backslide. Surak's philosophy of being glossed over or forgotten for a brief period. Okay.
Well,
okay.
It was lost. That was kind of the whole point of this arc, was to find it.
Yeah,
it's part of that
ultimately
whole one world thing where everybody thinks the same way, which is just never realistic to begin with.
Well, that's true. The other thing,
you gotta tell me that not
laugh,
every
but the other thing that bothers me about this is, why does it have to be the human that helps him find it?
Well,
that the main title
solidifies.
character.
Well, that solidifies the relationship between Earth and
that's
Vulcan.
True.
I mean, if it was another Vulcan that had found it, I mean, they could argue that, oh, it's a forgery, it's whatever. But this is an outsider, someone that has nothing to gain by coming forward with the Kashara. You know, so this gives it a little bit more legitimacy to it, rather than a Serenite. Oh, it's a Serenite plot. It's a forgery. It's not really point. What it is.
Great
but
point.
Here's someone who has nothing to gain except this is what I found. This is what it really is.
Okay.
And remember, Terry, it's the old Vulcan proverb.
Yeah.
Only Nixon could go to China.
Only Nixon can go to China. That's right.
Only Archer could find the Kashara.
One of the scenes that I love in that episode is they're talking. He's talking to Surak, and you see the nuclear detonations in the background.
That's Archer's memory. Yeah.
Yeah. It was very haunting.
Yeah. That's yeah.
Hold on, I'm typing something. So yeah, again, the Forge sets off, and here's the other thing. By the way, I love that Enterprise actually gave me so much stuff. I know that Jespa feels the same way. Enterprise gave me so much fan fiction fodder. It's ridiculous.
Fan fiction fodder. Teriyaki turkey.
Fan fiction fodder. Did I say it wrong?
No.
Oh.
It's a good verbal exercise.
Yeah, there's definitely too many loose
Excellent
ends.
exercise in elocution.
You know, there's a lot of loose ends in that, and that makes for good fan fiction. It makes for good writing prompts in general, is to have a loose end, something that nags at people. And and the question about whether weren't they already committed to logic? This is saying that they're not. That's a really good loose end there too, actually. But it does this episode, and actually the 3-episode arc does a really nice job of taking away the single planet system syndrome and turning this into, hey, these people have factions and they have internecine kind of conflicts, and they are they don't always like each other, and it kind of gives a little something to Archer mistrusting them in the first season in particular. They're kind of untrustworthy in a lot of ways, or at least they haven't got their own shit together. And here they were waiting for us to get our stuff, going on, yet they haven't. That's kind of what I took from that.
And it also just proves politicians on every planet are scum.
Well, that's kind of part of the reason why the Vulcans were so against Earth moving forward. They perceived them as a threat, is because they were this unknown entity, this almost.
Sorry, I'm laughing at Kajiro.
Oh, so for them, it was something that could disrupt their plans. And knowing now, later on as we discover that there was actually a Romulan presence behind it, behind a lot of Vulcans' actions, whether it's for their own version of unification, which could be argued as that is the reasoning behind it, but also as a means of I don't know. There was just so much, and like you guys were saying, there are so many unanswered questions that I'll just be quiet and go sit down.
This is awesome.
Mike, you have been on fire today.
Seriously, it's awesome.
Fantastic.
You need to have more bad weeks.
No,
Oh,
no,
man.
no.
You can punch him for that one. So I personally found this was one of those episodes where I kind of this is where Enterprise really started to jump into that 3-episode story arc format. The format that everybody really started to fall in love with, where you started to see repercussions of what happens from episode to episode, where it became more soap opera type of thing, where people actually that things actually happened. It wasn't as episodic. Things weren't miraculously fixed. And what happened in the explosion, was still hanging on everybody's minds when the Forge started, when this 3-episode arc started, and they end up going to Vulcan, and it was an exceptional episode, and
like the entirety of Enterprise. Look, people can hate Enterprise, say it wasn't good or anything, but no one can dispute how beautiful it was filmed and staged and just looked. It was light years ahead. You look at Enterprise and you look at TNG, and it is amazing, the difference.
Yeah.
Visually, yes, but just in terms of storytelling, I mean, what Enterprise did with the 3rd season is what we are getting in what is old hat now in storytelling today. The season-long arcs where you're building towards something, and at the time it was like
it was groundbreaking.
It truly was. I mean, the idea of certain elements being carried through were the threads running through a season, that was fine. But with Enterprise's 3rd season, the whole Xindi arc, I mean, one just literally on the back of the other. People died, they stayed dead. The ship, it got fucked up. It got fucked up.
Yeah.
And it stayed that way for a long time. It was great, and it was horrible at the same time, because I was like, oh God, but
And Matthew Anderson, I've always said, can you imagine if season 4 had been season 1, where it would have gone from there?
Well,
I know.
Yeah, and
I know.
Season 3 was too much, and that's why a lot of people hated it, because it was too far ahead, and that's why they kind of stepped back with these smaller arcs in the 4th season.
I think they needed season 3, though.
Season
3 was almost a reboot. It was almost a reboot.
But a lot of people didn't, because it was so.
But it's all about the Xindi.
Yeah.
Well, and also, again, especially if people are just finding it now, I think it's a little different than. Season 3 was a direct result of 9/11.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like watching a movie about communism from the 50s. At the time, it could have been, that was a direct result, and I think people were looking for an escape, and while it was an escape, it was still a little too raw, a little too close. Trip's psychology during season 3 is how a lot of people were still feeling in the real world.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it pushed people, because the storytelling in season 3, I mean, there were some clunkers, don't get me wrong, but the storytelling in season 3 was inspired.
Yeah, I agree.
And it broke the Trek mold like almost nothing had since Deep Space Nine's being set on a station.
And what it does is it sets up everything that gets talked about and touched on in season 4, including the Forge, where even the investigation of the explosion at the embassy, how that gets handled, and the mistrust that sets up the mistrust between humans and Vulcans, and also and gives rise to what ends up being touched on in Terra Prime.
Yes,
Strand says it really well with the line that he says, "Where were your friends, the Vulcans, when Earth was attacked?"
Yeah.
I mean, that line, although it wasn't in this episode and it wasn't in season 3, but that line shows that the ramifications of those events, and why this episode becomes so much more important. The Vulcans did not have Earths back then, but here is their darkest hour, so to speak, for the Vulcans, and here's Earth having their back, even though they didn't even realize that they were at a dark time. Yeah, needing anyone at their back. They had no clue. They had no clue whatsoever, and yet,
God, doesn't Daniels look like a penis?
For our listeners, somebody put a picture of Crewman Daniels in the chat room. So
Terry, what are next week's 2 episodes? 28 and 27.
I know that Miss Janet had to step away real quick, so we will repeat them if necessary. Okay, so number 28 on our countdown. Oh, she's back! Yay! So number 28 on the countdown of the 50 for 50 is the original series, Season 2, Episode 6, The Doomsday Machine.
Oh, don't you think I know that?
And number 27.
My lucky number.
Is Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, baby. Now we're talking.
Season 4, Episode 10.
Go.
Homefront.
Oh.
Yeah,
wow.
I swear, I'm
That's
getting chills.
A fucking major episode.
That I can tell you guys, you really outdid yourselves on the voting. I think that from here on out, every time we talk about an episode or I announce an episode, everybody's going to be, oh yeah, that's where we're at now.
If number 1 is masks, I'm kicking somebody in the taint.
You only have yourselves to blame. Or
you only have yourselves to blame.
Give yourselves credit.
Masaka. Hey. People can talk about Alan Moraine all they want. Masks was a far more annoying episode.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, I that one I wish I had a fast forward button through like all of that episode, but I don't like to skip episodes when I do my rewatches. But
I'd rather watch Devil's Due because at least that chick was hot.
I love Devil's Due.
Well, at least that chick was hot,
and it had a fucking point, which was con men will do anything, man. Oh God, I love that episode. Okay. Number 28, again, number 28 is the original series, Season 2, Episode 6, The Doomsday Machine. And number 27 is DS9, Season 4, Episode 10, Homefront. All right, we had a long show today.
Well, we started late, too.
And we did start late. And we want to thank everybody who's listening live in our chat room and joining us. And, Deanne. Hi, Deanne. Nice to hear you. Nice to see you. She's in the chat room. That's Deanne Louise. She's, we get to meet her in Amsterdam. She's so sweet. Okay. So, yay. Michael, we do have some announcements.
Thank you, Kajiro. Masks ranked 652.
Oh, okay. Oh, see, it was down there. He's so awesome. Mikey, do you have announcements? Because I have a couple.
I have something to say. Announcements.
BLB related, SOG, Straight Out Gallifrey. We recorded an episode. I was hoping to have it edited now, but I've been dealing with my own shit. So
yeah, you have a life. It's late. Okay.
I'm hoping to get it out next week.
Cool. We do have, again, another Busy Little Beaver production that's in the very baby stages, and that's the O Sports Show. He's getting his stuff together, and we'll be doing his first episode, I think, in the next few weeks, I think is what he said he hoped for. But you can always...
I put him in touch with a friend of ours to kind of help him with the audio, learn how to do the audio.
How to do it. Yeah.
Audio editing. So, yeah.
Very, very cool.
They are moving closer.
But in the meantime, he did just release his first baseball-related blog, and you can follow him at, I think it's Scott Ostrowski at WordPress.com. .wordpress. He's awesome. Love this guy. And then we do have a big announcement. One of our favorite things to support here at the G&T show, which is not a fan production. It's cooler than that. Is the NTS theater theater group, the Antaeus Theater Company out of Glendale, California. This is the theater company that's kind of not just headed up by, but he's on the board of directors, but he's also one of the main actors, along with many other amazing actors, including Chris Pine's dad. They're creating a new home in Glendale. They have already the lease set up. They've got the space available. They've got 75% of their funding to move into a new theatrical home. And they are doing a Kickstarter for the remainder of it. And they're trying to kind of start not unlike what the Ice Challenge was, but it is a Shakespearean insult challenge. So they're asking people to donate to their Kickstarter and then share a Shakespearean insult that somebody and challenge them to donate. I have donated. I essentially insulted everybody on Twitter I could. And but we got to talk to Armin Shimmerman about this group when we were at Star Trek Las Vegas last year, and we intend to do so again. Please, please, please support them if you can. We will put the link for the Kickstarter in the show notes.
Let me ask you a question, Terry.
Yes.
Are they laying new carpeting?
Actually, there are pictures of the theater.
Mm-hmm.
And
sushi, everyone.
It's just let me see this.
There's no
I like it when I can get a laugh from Jasper because it just makes me happy.
Pictures of the theater do not feature carpeting.
Oh, they're so unprofessional.
They have a $75,000 goal. They are now $21,000 into the goal. They do have stretch goals, of course, but they have 25 days to go. The Kickstarter is entitled A New Home for the Antaeus Theater Company, and they have a really great set of gifts for people who donate, and a lot of them are like Linda Park. She's one of the performers, and one of her gifts is for $50 or more, she will tweet a Shakespeare insult at you. For $75, I think you actually get a signed photo of her. Same with Armin Shimmerman. $75, you can get a signed thank you from Armin Shimmerman. And here's one, the one that I actually purchased, which was a $75. You received a signed thank you from Andy Robinson, who played Garrett.
Sweet.
Again, Kitty Swink. There's a lot that you can get from this, and there's a lot that you can choose from, and it's just a really wonderful non-profit organization that you can support, that we all love, and find them a new home. What I love the most about the Antaeus Theater Company is that they are actually an educational facility as well. So they actually provide courses and classes to underprivileged individuals who would never be able to afford anything otherwise. So this is a spectacular thing to support. If
you get the chance, please go listen to the interview that Terry and I did at Star Trek Las Vegas with Mr. Shimmerman. And yes, I called him Mr. Shimmerman. That's how much respect I have for the man. And plus, he could have killed me with his pinky. But and listen, and he was so generous with his time, and so he was a lot of fun. He, getting him to laugh was something. And we talked about this. We talk about, of course, Deep Space Nine. We talk about Buffy with him. We did so many things we talk about with him. So thanks so much for letting me yak about the Antaeus Theater Company. Again, it's one of our little.
We're discussing the idea of having a contest to help support them, right?
Right, and pretty much what I was thinking of doing is kind of donating the Andy Robinson signed thank you card to members of our listeners, but we'll see what we're going to have you do. It might, I don't know. We'll see. We're going to talk about it, and then we'll find out what's going on.
And for people that have just been discovering us, because of the court proceedings and everything, www.gntshow.com. Please go back and look at some of our supplemental log section for interviews that we do with authors, directors, special effects people. I mean, we've run the gamut. Tim Russ, Armin Shimmerman, Doug Drexler, the authors of the novels, and give them a listen and let us know how we're doing. hosts@gntshow.com. Mike's only gotten one hate mail. Okay, he's way behind the curve. and Jessica also hasn't gotten any.
And also, don't forget, we do have access to Dayton Ward.
Yeah, we do.
And if you want Dayton to answer one of your questions, no matter how ridiculous it might be,
what we pay him for.
Yeah, you can send your questions to us at hosts@gntshow.com, and we will forward it on to him for the next Ask Dayton. Okay, I think that kind of does it for this week's show.
Convention news.
No, it doesn't. Number 1, we are set in stone for Star Trek Las Vegas. Huzzah! We got all of our things taken care of. Thank you to Creation Entertainment for actually giving me a phone call and helping me work that out. It was
for those that aren't on our show, I love reading Terry's emails. That's all I'm going to say.
I got up for now. Okay,
so you all don't know Mirror Universe, Terry. We do.
It's true, but the beard it may be a little much.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And Alan clean
It's
shaven.
a goatee. It's a goatee.
But Alan's boots are wonderful.
So we are set in stone. So we have our booths plural, for Star Trek Las Vegas. We are now we're confirmed. So we're very happy about that. We are also working on our. We know that we will be there in some capacity at Star Trek Mission New York on Labor Day weekend. And we just don't know what that's going to be yet. And we'll see. So that's all good. Convention. Don't forget to read Jen Ucelis's blogs and interviews, information that she just did at the con. What's the name of it again? Capricorn. And Chicago.
O.J. Simpson was so great in that Capricorn one.
Thank you again, Jen, to the Klingon pop warrior herself. She's awesome, and we can't thank you enough for going out of your way to provide us.
You're way too good.
That was very sweet. She's so sweet. All right, that's kind of it. Until next week, live long and prosper.
Kapla!
Don't touch that thing. I warned you. I'm warning you again.
Joe Lantrue.
Music for the GNT show is provided by 5 Year Mission, Enterprise Blues Band, Warp 11, Andrew Allen, and Grethor. The GNT show is a BLB production.
Move ahead, walk back to 10. Put a mini skirt on my yo man. Represent the human race. And we make space a happy place. To fully go where no man's gone before. I think I sang that line once before, but I'm not too sure. We'll be so happy, can't you see? A zero-G community. Gonna travel to new worlds. Beam on down and meet some green girls. Gonna see what we can see. A fancy free galaxy. To only go where no man's gone before. I think I sang that line once before, but I'm not too sure. We'll be so happy, can't you see? A zero-G community. Come and take a tour with me. no cons or Kobe.